What's going on, guys? Bruce Matson here, your host show, Metric Scout Fantasy Football. And it's that time of the week where we do an update on the rankings and we put them into tiers to help you with your fantasy lineups. We take the new information that's been gathered throughout the week and we try to fit them into tiers to help you out with your rankings and your lineup decisions. If that's something you're into, smash that subscribe button right now because you don't want to miss another episode. I'll be dropping the wide receivers probably here in a little bit, so you want to be on the lookout for that. But let's go ahead and dig in and take a look at the board here. So we got it from S all the way to D. S for studs. And one thing I want to note, the guys from the Thursday night game are not in this because they're playing right now. And there's no point of putting them in here because they're already played. They're already in lineups. You guys already made your decisions on them. So there's no point in doing it. So rather give you other guys in the top 30 to help you going forward. So let's get this started. So tier number 1, the S tier, the studs. You're definitely starting them. It's Saquon, it's Derrick Henry, it's Austin Eckler, and it's Nick Chubb. So this is the Grandioso tier here. I feel like these guys are in good matchups. Derrick Henry against Washington, Saquon at Green Bay. Green Bay is not the greatest matchup, but he gets a lot of workload. Eckler gets a lot of targets. Nick Chubb's in a good matchup here. So I really like this. If anything, I want to move Chubb up a little bit. Maybe even to 2. Maybe even to 2. I'm very high on Nick Chubb this week. I think a lot of people who watch this channel is high on Nick Chubb as well because I get a lot of people talking about him in the comments. And just to let you know, I love him this week. Don't worry about him. Let's move on to the next tier here. So, we got Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Lenny Fournette, and Joe Mixon. It's not far off from tier S. You might as well say that they could produce just as well as them. All of them get touches. All of them are in different matchups here. Joe Mixon against Baltimore. Lenny against Atlanta. Dalvin against Chicago. I like Dalvin. That Chicago game could be slow or it could be huge for him. It could go either way. There's a lot of range of outcomes. The thing is, Christian McCaffrey against San Francisco. Let's move him back. Let's move him back because that is an ugly matchup. And Carolina has been an ugly team. And Christian McCaffrey, we know you got talent. We know you touch the ball a lot. But this isn't the greatest matchup for you either, buddy. So let's move on to tier B here. Let's look at what we got here. So we're going to go with Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, Khalil Herbert, James Robinson, Damien Harris, Kamara, Dameon Pierce, come on down. Miles Sanders is a huge one. Josh Jacobs. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Very interesting tier. So, one thing I want to know here. Alvin Kamara is saying he's healthy. Let's just pretend he's 100% good to go. And he's good to play. And that means he would be in this tier easily. Probably ahead of Christian McCaffrey. Decent matchup. Good volume. Targets. Probably up there. I would have him up there just because of the volume alone. Aaron Jones against New York. That could be a slower game script. Not really in love with that. Jamal Williams in a lower game script against New England. Not in too love with that. James Robinson against Houston. Could be a crazy game. Going to move that up. Damien Harris, I'm going to just have him chill there. Sharing the workload. And then we got Dameon Pierce against Jacksonville. I feel like this could be a crazy game. Going to move him up. It doesn't mean I hate these guys. It just means I'm looking at these matchups here. And I'm like, why not? I really love Miles Sanders. He's been doing great lately. He's explosive. Decent matchup against Arizona. Arizona's plummeting right now. Josh Jacobs needs a little bit more love. Clyde Edwards-Helaire getting targets out of backfield. Patrick Mahomes go Burr. And I'm moving him up a bit. Maybe even ahead of Pierce. Just because of the targets, but the workload. Like these guys are kind of flippity-floppy. But Patrick Mahomes go Burr. Messing around with this tier a little bit. I don't see many more of these guys getting anointed to tier A, though. Tier B is kind of like this ambiguous tier where these guys can produce, but they could also be rocky. I can make a case for all these guys with how they could be rocky, but also with how they could produce, either with the amount of touches or with the matchup not going their way. And that's the reason why we got this funky tier that's huge right now. But maybe they can mix into this last tier here with Jeff Wilson, Devin Singletary, James Conner, J.K. Dobbins, Ramondre Stevenson, Najee Harris, Breece Hall, and then A.J. Dillon. So very interesting here. Another batch of guys that could go off on us, but running back's been ugly this year. One thing here I want to note, and that's Devin Singletary could be in the position to roll at the end of the game against Pittsburgh. That is an interesting matchup. I'm going to move Damien Harris down to Ramondre Stevenson. Usually I have these guys neck and neck with each other. They're usually RB2s, and they're flip-flop who does better. I want to move Devin Singletary up. I want to move Khalil Herbert down. I don't really like the volume of this team. And I want to move him back. I want J.K. Dobbins up a bit, just with the explosion factor. I want to move Najee Harris up because I know he's going to get touches. I know he's going to get volume. Might get some extra checkdowns in this game. And he is good to cross the goal line every now and again. So I can't hate on him completely. A lot of people are down on him. A lot of people are really down on him. I'm pretty down with him having a tier C. I can make a case for tier B because if I got these guys here that are in bad matchups, then why not? Let's just slide them there. Jeff Wilson I'm not in love with, but it's against Carolina. 49ers could be ahead. James Conner, I'm going to move back a bit. I just want to see him healthier. Breece Hall is a sleeper. Is a sleeper due to his work in the passing game. I'm going to move him right ahead of the Patriots backs. But he is risky. He's very risky. And then we got A.J. Dillon here. Again, he's always good for a goal line touch. Against the Giants, they could be ahead in this game. I like him ahead of Khalil Herbert. Now that I'm working things around, but he is risky. Everybody here's kind of risky. I can make a case for all these dudes being risky. I like Breece Hall for upside. I like Jeff Wilson this week due to the fact Niners should be ahead in this game. J.K. Dobbins should show some explosives. He should be in tier B or A next week if he does what he's supposed to do. Rest of these guys, I'm not loving their matchup. The Patriots brothers over here, who knows what they're going to do. But let's move on to tier D, our last one. And there's only two guys in it right now, Rashad Penny and Ezekiel Elliott. Rashad Penny really should be in tier D. I get it. A lot of people are down on him, but had that explosive week. But if we're going to have him in tier D, then we should have some more of these guys in tier D, which doesn't make sense. Zeke all alone. So let's get him some buddies. I always have some guys ready to fill in that could come out and do some things. Antonio Gibson might be losing some carries, might be losing some touches. Old Brian Robinson coming back. Kareem Hunts. You never know if you're going to get a Kareem Hunt game or a Nick Chubb game. I feel good on Nick Chubb, but Kareem Hunt catches passes out of the backfield. He's explosive, got size. He's also a 3-down back in his own right. Tony Pollard and Zeke. I mean, one hits, one doesn't usually. Usually if it's going to work out with those backs. Not the greatest matchup either for these guys. So let's move them back. Next, we got old Breece Hall. Old Breece Hall, because he does get some workload, could get anointed with some touches. And then next we're going to go with Travis Etienne. He's been burning a lot of people, but he has had some looks on tape where there is some promise, but I'm not going to promise that he's going to give you production, but we're going to rank him low. We're like in the mid-30s right now, so it doesn't even matter who you're putting up here. You just grab your guy at this point. And next we got the Rams brothers. I don't like their matchup against Dallas. I don't see it really happening for them, but we're throwing them up there just to see. Either one of these guys, Harris, Akers, we'll just see what happens with those guys, but I'm not really down with it that much. I look for them to use Cooper Kupp a lot in this game and really move him around. Possibly defer to some of the other receivers if they're trying to lock up Kupp, but I feel like the passing game is going to get it done. We might get one of these guys falling in the end zone. But that's it. That's it for these tiers and rankings for this week. Let me know if I missed anybody. Sometimes I miss a guy who's like a top 8, top 10 guy just because the spreadsheets mess up. Because I got a spreadsheet over here that I'm working off of. But let me know who you're starting this week, who you're trying to get at the running back position. Drop that in the comments. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. We'll help you for the rest of the season. I'm here dropping ranks. I drop ranks twice a week. I also give you suggestions for waiver wire pickups and trades all week long. Along with, I go over some player profiles during the week as well, telling you who can get, who not to get, or just overall advanced metrics on the players. But I want to thank you for watching the show, and I'll catch you next time.